All right, guys, we got a really cool one today. We got Bill Maher on the pod. This is a crazy one. Before we get into it, if you guys have not tried out the Prize Picks app, you guys need to download it and try it right now. I can't even watch a sporting event anymore without firing on Prize Picks. It just makes it so much more fun to watch. NHL Finals is here. NBA Finals is here. There's no better time to fire on Prize Picks. Also, this weekend, we got UFC, Sugar Sean versus Marab, the rematch. We're going to be at the fight. So we put together a special pick, the Nelk Boys community play. We put a lot of thought into this. You guys can actually go on the Prize Picks app and you guys can just click it and tail our play. So go to the Prize Picks app, tail our community play. Let's all ride it together. Also, boys, we got you guys on a special code NELK. If you plug that in and put in just $5, you're going to get $50 for free, no strings attached. So download the Prize Picks app, use code NELK, and get on there. Tail our UFC play. Let's all ride it this weekend. Let's go Prize Picks. Let's go Sugar Sean. Let's get into the pod.
Excuse my left.
Kyle,
How you doing?
Good.
What do you got there?
What?
Jesus.
This?
Yeah.
This is our alcoholic drink. Happy Dad? Hard seltzer?
Wow.
You're a drinker, right? A little bit or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got going there?
It's 4:00, so I'm not drinking yet.
Okay.
But
I don't know.
I save it for 5. I mean, I'm not a monster.
I mean, it's only an hour away. Yeah. No,
No, David Mamet is coming here to do my podcast.
Okay.
After I keep forgetting, I'm on your show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you ask the questions. I'm just gonna sit
So
here.
what do you think? When does that change? What age does?
Well, it's everything.
Do you just stop giving a fuck?
It's just gradual, of course. Life is an evolution. It's not a revolution. 30 to I'm almost 70. That's 40 years. Yes, you'll go through. Each decade you're a different person a little bit. Your friends will change somewhat. Hopefully you have some your whole life, but you change. I mean, a lot of people change marriages. And it's not their fault. People, you're not the same person at 40 as you were at 20. If you can still make that work with the same person, good. Or if you're faking it, that's your choice. But, you're not a bad person if you're like, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry I married you at 20 and now I'm just, I've heard people say this, not just the men, women even more saying, they're married and they say that there are some days you just look over and go, who is this person in my bed?
Marriage is scary, bro. I mean,
I never got married. Look who you're talking to.
You've never been married once.
You didn't know that about me?
I didn't know that.
Wow. You don't know me at all.
I don't know you. Well, that's why I'm here to get to know you, too.
No, but I mean, I talk about it on my show for 30 years.
Wow.
I mean, it comes up a lot. Do you know I smoke pot?
I do know that. Yeah. I heard you don't call it pot, though. You call it cigarettes, right?
Oh, I used to joke here on the podcast that, because at first when I was doing it, I was a little nervous about it because there was talk that there were states maybe where it wasn't legal, where, they wouldn't show the podcast. But it turned out that their Brock was worse than their bite, and you could smoke, and it didn't seem to affect anything. But so I used to joke when I was the first, a few months we did this, and I was kind of nervous. I would just be smoking the joint, and I'd be like, "These clove cigarettes are fantastic." That's what people smoke when they're,
How many cloves you rip in a day?
Not a lot. People think I'm a huge pothead. I'm not a huge pothead. I'm a pothead. I'm a high functioning drug addict. I'm very proud of it. But I don't even smoke every day.
No.
I try to limit it as much as I can because the less you do, the better it works. I'd love to quit for a month. But that's not going to happen, Kyle. I've tried many times.
I think weed's just person to person too. I don't think it has any. Does it have any, serious health effects? Not really. Not like alcohol.
It's definitely not like alcohol. Yeah. I mean, I don't believe my hippie friends who talk about it like it's health food. I go by common sense a lot with health, and smoke in your lungs. You weren't born with smoke in your lungs. Is it better than cigarette smoke? Of course. And of course, you can even try to up the odds on that by smoking the cleanest weed you can find. But are you there on the farm when they pick it? I mean, do you,
No.
just because it says on the bottle or whatever? I mean, I'm lucky. I know some growers, so I grow it here. I don't personally, but
You got a couple plants out there?
I could show you,
gotta show
but we
me
walk
after.
out. Yeah,
You ever toss a little tobacco in the joint or no?
never.
You're just
Why
clean
would-
straight weed.
Why would you take, you're saying, okay, this isn't the greatest thing for my health, but it's way better than cigarettes and alcohol. Why would you then make it into a cigarette?
We used to call it batch bowls when we used to rip bong. Like you put a little tobacco in and then you mix it with some green and it just gives you like a nasty head rush and then you're also getting the high.
Tobacco actually affects your high.
Well, it gives you that instant head rush right away. So when you
Really?
hit the bowl, you get the head rush first and then it kind of simmers off and then you get the high.
Yeah, that's another thing you're going to outgrow, Kyle.
Yeah.
You're not going to.
I don't even smoke
I
like
mean-
that no more. I used to smoke morning, but it made me too lazy.
I used to we would take the whipped cream cans in the bar at the comedy clubs, and if you bent back the nozzle, you'd get the gas, because
Oh, you guys are on some shit.
and then
The whipped cream can.
yeah, the bartender would be pissed because then the whipped cream wouldn't come out because you robbed all the gas, so you could get high. And that was a head rush, but it lasted 30 seconds. The idea that I would, at this point in my life, trade my health, because it can't be good to be, force breathing gas.
You got to outgrow the whipped cream.
For
Eventually.
30 seconds of a high, it was just a terrible bargain. But, like I say, you just, your cerebral cortex or whatever it is just still growing, especially men. Men just, one of the hardest things in society really is, no matter what age you live in, women just mature much, much sooner. Mm-hmm. And men, you literally, I think, need like a 40-year head start.
What do you mean?
I mean,
That sounded a bit, yeah.
If I would, hypothetically be going out with a 26-year-old, hypothetically, it would be the correct amount of time between us.
You'd need to be 66 to be the same maturity level?
Well, I'm 69, but, roughly, let's round down.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you need a very, very, people are different, but to be as mature as they are, even in their mid-20s, yes, you need, that's my experience, that you need to be way, way, way older. I mean, I was not mature at all at 40.
Really?
Yeah, because I think a lot of times in what you're doing in our lives, all of us is...
Do you think that potentially is the environment you're in? Or do you think all 40-year-old males would not be mature? I mean, you probably had a fucking playground, right?
I think what it is that you're always, in a sense, making up for the last era of your life. Now, I did not have a good social life when I was an adolescent. Mm-hmm. When you should be, kids are mostly having fun at college. They're known as party schools. I had none of that experience. I had a horrible time socially at school, college, and in high school I was very shy, and I had one girlfriend, and that was it the whole time. And so I was kind of making up for my fun years of adolescence that didn't go well. I think that happens a lot in our life. We're making up for something in the past. It can be something in childhood. People don't have great childhoods. Their parents fuck them up in some way, and they're always compensating for that in some way for late into life, sometimes their whole life.
Right.
So I think that's one reason why I was, socially not very mature at that age. I just still wanted to have fun. I mean, happens to women too. I've known women, I don't think I was personally involved with them, but who had kids young, and then they get to be 40, and they're
I missed out.
Yeah, I missed out. You and they get mad at the husband sometimes. You robbed me of my youth, and I was raising your kids. Yeah, nobody put a gun to your head.
No.
But now they want their day in the sun, and they want to be fun and hot and out, and I get it. I get it. It's all how you handle it.
All right, guys, summer's here. You know me, if you've been following me, I'm always trying to stay in shape, trying to look my best while we're always traveling, partying. One of my little cheat codes that I always have in my fridge are Factor meals. What I love about Factor is they just have so many different meals on their sites. You can choose your diet, whether you want high protein. If you're even trying to bulk up, they have stuff that's like high carbs. What I love about it too is there's just so many different options. Last week I had this like protein jalapeno one. The food's actually really good too. It's not like a shitty gas station meal. It actually tastes really good. So if you're trying to get in shape this summer, I know cooking can be a lot. Meal prepping takes a lot of time too. Go to factor.com/NELK50. That's gonna get you 50% off your first order plus free shipping, which is an insane deal. So go on the site, put together your diet. There's fucking tariffs on tarps this summer. We gotta be looking good with our shirts off, and Factor has you covered. Go to factor.com/NELK50. 50% off and free shipping. Shout out to Factor. What do you think the difference is, like, dating when you started dating, caught that, or like going out and partying versus like now? What's the biggest differences, you think?
I'm not out that much, and I probably don't go to the places you go, but occasionally I do, because I do like younger friends. I just do. I mean, a lot of my friends, certainly the ones I go out with, a lot are millennials.
You look fucking great for 60.
Oh, thanks. I owe it all to clean liquor, Kyle. I was at this party, listen to this, I was with somebody I know and her younger sister, who's like, very in the mix of Hollywood. And the Hollywood social scene is just a lot of trust fund kids and Nepo babies. That's who runs the nightlife.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we went to this party. I remember it was outside. It was a nice night. And, and I was looking for pot, or maybe I had pot. So somebody asked me for pot. That's what it was. And I was like, me? Why are you asking me? Don't you kids have any pot? Nobody had pot. And I was like, what the fuck? Nobody, you're 22 and nobody's, you know why? Because they all are high when they came in on something they swallowed.
Pop pills.
That's where the drug scene has gone.
Yeah.
You do it before you leave the house. They perfected, but they certainly make commercialized, made more easily to do, like microdosing of acid, microdosing of mushrooms.
Mushrooms is very, very big now.
Right.
Microdosing?
Right. So they're not smoking pot because they're on a bigger drug before they even left. And pot is sort of like, old school or something. Nevertheless, a lot of people seem to want it when I lit it up.
Yeah. Have you ever fucked with the mushroom chocolates or anything like that?
Well, but I used to do mushrooms we didn't put them in anything. They were like fucking out of the ground. They were like disgusting dried buds that you found a way to eat it, but sometimes, it was like...
Tastes like shit.
Tastes like shit. And then sometimes you got a little queasy or even threw up. But, yeah, I remember that. I think the first time I did it, I put them in a tuna fish sandwich. That was not a good idea.
Tuna fish mushy sandwich?
Ugh. I seem to remember that, yes. And then you could put them in the blender. I remember doing that, or just fucking eat them. Once you're high and you want more, somebody's got the little bag. You just eat it. You just eat the cap. That's what I mostly remember.
So you've tripped pretty hard.
Acid nobody has done since like the 60s. Timothy Leary told me that. If he doesn't know, no one knows. He said it's a very hard thing to make in the lab. That Owsley guy who made the original batch that the Beatles did and everybody did, that was kind of the real LSD. And then by the time I think the first time I did it was the I don't remember doing it in college. I don't think it was around. I did it like maybe in the 80s or something, and they said it was acid. It wasn't fucking acid. It was some bullshit that somebody put together. They kind of got you high. It was a shitty trip. It was grungy. I remember I couldn't get out of my body for a whole day. I was so... Was it a trip? Not really. It was probably a bunch of strychnine and speed and some fucking thing that he put together, and they called it acid. And of course, there's no regulation. How the fuck do you know what acid is?
I just have no desire to try acid. I don't know.
But I think they probably have made something closer to it now. And I do know people swear by the microdosing of acid because they say it's not like you're tripping. It's just like you're very focused and you're in a great mood. And, you know, I think they have really targeted somebody got the bright idea. We can make a lot of money just taking some of these drugs that people think are kind of like, oh, that's kind of a big investment to trip on acid. Am I really ready? And where am I going to do it? And am I going to jump up a building? And no, let's make it like a lot easier to do and not quite as severe. And I bet you we could make a lot of money, and I bet they do.
That's the next wave, yeah. I think even the mushrooms, I wonder if those will ever get legalized kind of like the way weed is now. Because people are really doing those too. I just tried them. We had some Australian chicks that we went to Australia and we became we became friends with them in Australia, and then they came out to visit us for New Year's, and we like partied for 3 days straight, like normal partying. But then we were doing dry January, so we stopped the drinking after New Year's, and then we switched to only mushrooms for 3 days. So we did mushroom chocolates for like 3 days, and it feels like having like 6 drinks or something. Like, especially when you're outside in the sun, and like, I could see it being really big if it becomes legalized.
I think it is big. And but when you did it the way I did it, where you just really just ate it raw, at least for me, it was just, you would just laugh at everything.
Yeah, you're just laughing.
The drug is like, I think, robbing all the serotonin. Is that it? You know, something like that. I'm not sure about that.
But you can feel like other people's energy on it too. Like if someone's like in a shitty mood, you can kind of like feel it
one
a
person
little bit. It's like a psychological...
You're harsh, you're mellow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also, I recall, bad coming down sometimes because you depleted your supply of whatever the chemical it is that makes you feel pretty good as a normal person walking around. You just robbed that.
Yeah.
You just took it all. So now you're just like, you know, it's probably close to what people who are depressed feel like, who need, you know,
Right.
I mean, for years they didn't treat depression with drugs, which was crazy because, you know, psychiatrists, they were useless. It's not about that. These people just lack a certain amount of whatever the serotonin or whatever it is that makes the endorphins, which I call the dolphins.
You think it's like a chemical imbalance?
Of course it is. Well, not all depression, but much. They found, yes, people who went to shrinks for years and then they took one pill and like, oh, okay. Not exactly problem solved. And of course, there's lots of problems with the drugs themselves.
Yeah, don't a lot of people say that those drugs just kind of mask the problems and they don't actually...
Well, they can do that. They also can just like, yes, they'll take away your lows, but also your highs. So you're just kind of like existing, you know. It probably takes away your libido. You know, no, you're not depressed, but you might as well be because it's very hard to be on psychedelic drugs, psychotropic, whatever the word is, drugs, and find the exact right dosage and have it just be the good part and not the bad part. Of course, nowadays they just start kids way too early, way too much on drugs. No wonder the kids are all on drugs because you put them on drugs. You horrible, horrible parents. Just, you know, severe cases, yes, but, you know, boys who are agitated, that's being a boy, okay? Once you start them on here, take a pill, You just created a drug addict for life. They'll just switch the drug out for other ones.
Putting a kid on Adderall, it's like, it's pretty much legal meth, right? Like,
It is. It's exactly what
so
it is.
stupid.
Of course, the kid's unhappy. Of course, he's a fucking kid.
Yeah.
I was mostly unhappy, not like fundamentally unhappy, and certainly not because there was anything really wrong in my life. I was fortunate. Just because I'm a control freak, that's my nature. You don't have any control when you're a kid. You're vulnerable. You know, you're just, everything you want is like far away. Like, I didn't really want to be a kid when I was a kid. Adult shit looked good, and I was right.
You always wanted to grow up, right? Yeah.
I was right. It is better, adult stuff.
What's the best era for you? Like I'm 30 right now. Like, is this the best time, or when is the best
To me,
time, you think?
it is now. I mean, even with being older, it's not like I can't do everything I always could do, so that's good.
So it just gets better and better and better.
Well, no, then at some point you die. That's not better, you know.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
because I get to sit here. You're wise. I get to get fucking free game from you.
I mean, to me, I like it now because, again, I just don't make stupid mistakes like I used to. I just don't do stupid things. I'm nicer. I have no competition with anybody. I've already won everything I wanted to win at. The few things I didn't, you can't get everything, you know. And I'm totally at peace with that. And so I'm not like competitive with anybody. I don't have to prove anything. I could quit tomorrow and I'd be very happy with my legacy and everything I did. So that kind of peace of mind. I would say the thing, conversely, the thing that gnawed at me the most when I was exactly your age is, am I going to be a failure? That probably created more stress in my life than anything. Well, relationships, they caused a lot of stress. But that thought, you know, oh my God, could I be like one of the losers in this game? You know, because that's the early 30s is when you start to see some of the guys you started out with in the comedy club starting to, you know, get shows and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, am I gonna be like the comic who never like gets the next thing? That would suck. You know, I'm not going to be a good failure. So, like, that was super stressful. And I don't have, you know, you don't have any of that now. So you have like all the, and also I still love the job I do. I mean, this one is fun too, but my real job at real time, I mean, it's the best job in the world. And they keep hiring me to do it.
Yeah.
And
you reach so many people.
I can do it, and I keep doing it better and better because you're just, you know, you've been doing something the longer time. You just get better at it. That would be true of anything. If I played the piano for 30 years, I'd be better at it now.
Yeah.
So that's all the good part. You know, the bad part is, you could much more likely, you know, tomorrow I could have a heart attack than you.
Yeah.
That's the bad part.
That's safe to say, yeah. It depends what I'm doing, though, at the same time, right?
Yeah. No, your stupidity.
No, I'm good.
You could definitely kill your heart with stupidity, too. Yeah. Young people do it all the time. I could have
a couple of my boys I got to watch over. I could have
done it. Many times I could have bought the farm with stupid drug tricks.
It's scary now with the drugs, too, right? Yeah, there's a lot of shit in them.
Like fentanyl?
Yeah, the fentanyl shit.
How do you know it's not in the drugs you're doing?
You don't. Every fucking cocaine line is a lottery ticket, pretty much, right? I still from that, but yeah.
I am so glad I'm not doing those drugs anymore.
Yeah. I mean, cocaine's just fucking, it's everywhere. Every party you go to.
Really?
Oh, it's everywhere, yeah.
I'm not sure that ever really changed because I think when you look at the...
they got liquid cocaine now.
What is that?
I was at a house here in LA, and it's a fucking nasal bottle, and it's liquid cocaine. It's like a vape instead of a cigarette. So instead of the stigma of going outside and smoking a cigarette,
right,
you're just vaping inside instead of going to the bathroom and having to like try to find the handicap stall, you just have this liquid thing now, and that's what
that's what
people are
vaping,
doing.
just like a vapor.
No,
or
it's like the allergy medicine, like
but
that you
you don't really want to stick something up your nose that somebody else stuck up their nose, do you?
I mean, fuck, people are desperate for cocaine, right?
Probably, they do.
When the bag runs out, they're probably gonna do it. Yeah, yeah.
Would you at least wipe off the nozzle?
I don't know. I haven't tried liquid cocaine, but I'm observing. I'm kind of past that stage a little bit, but
right.
Yeah, I'm past the liquid cocaine stage.
Cocaine is, I think, always the one that's going to get you. I mean, obviously people die of other things, and heroin I don't know about, but it must be fantastic because people just do anything for it. I mean, I'll suck your dick is kind of like the middle name of everyone, every heroin addict. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure heroin is not a good thing to start because you'll just like it too much.
Yeah.
But cocaine, certainly everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people try it, experiment with it, or at least do it once or something. And, it's the classic honeymoon drug. At first it's like, wow, this is cool. And I don't need a lot of it. And it's just, it's a real
slope, right?
It's a real scam. Soon enough, you will be doing a little more, and then, you just don't want to get to that place where you're waking up in the morning and it's the first thing you do and you're chasing that high all day. Thank God I never got to that place.
No, that's crazy.
But people do. I mean, because cocaine has such diminishing returns. Like, you could chart it. The first time I needed one line and I was high for 4 hours. And, 6 months later, I need 40 lines and I'm high for 20 minutes. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's a great product because it incites you to get more of the product.
Yeah.